Lesson 7. Law of Transformation and Development of the World. This lesson we are going to study the law of transformation and development of the world. Transformation and development of the world is made by energetic activity of man in a law-governed way. Man's energetic activity is independent, creative, and conscious, and level, realm, and speed of the world transformation and development are determined in conformity with the strengthening of such activity. First, level of the world transformation and development becomes high with the strengthening of man's energetic activity. It means that the higher the level of man's independent, creative, and conscious activity is, the higher the level of transforming and developing the world becomes. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "The world is changed for the benefit of man only by his energetic activity." Strengthening of man's energetic activity is the main factor that determines the level of the world transformation and development. Objective conditions also inflict certain influence upon transformation and development of the world. In particular, advanced social system makes big action on transforming and developing nature and society. However, main factor of the world development is, by all means, energetic activity of man, the subject. However favorable the given objective conditions are, nature and society cannot be transformed and developed properly if the level of man's independence, creativity, and consciousness is not high nor displayed to the full. In contrast with this, if the level of man's independence, creativity, and consciousness is high and displayed to the full, the world can be transformed and developed successfully, although objective conditions are unfavorable. Level of man's independence, creativity, and consciousness determines the level of demand for transformation and development of the world and the degree of activeness of behavior for their realization. The level of man's energetic activity based on development of independence, creativity, and consciousness is enhanced continuously through practical process of transforming the world. In this process, the level of transforming and developing the world is enhanced. Today, man has reached the high phase where he can discover law of everything and phenomenon and utilize them actively if he determines to do. Man has created energy utilizing technology to control law of nature more effectively and cutting-edge technical means such as IT and intellectual equipment. Man discovers laws even in the complicated and various social phenomena and realizes his needs in an active way, thus serving his practical activities to transform and develop society. The scope of transforming and developing the world is expanded with the strengthening of man's energetic activity. It tells that the more active man's independent, creative, and conscious activities to transform the world are, the wider the realm that the world is transformed and developed will be as days go by. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "As history advances, man's position and role as master of the world is strengthened, and the extent of people's domination over the world increases daily through their independent, creative, and conscious struggle. Strengthening of man's energetic activity is the main factor determining the realm of transforming and developing the world. Man's activity was low-grade at the beginning of human society. With the strengthening of man's energetic activity, the realm of harnessing nature is expanded gradually. As a result, more things natural were transformed and developed into more various kinds of consumer goods and means of production needed for people's food, clothing, and housing. With the expanding and deepening the realm of transforming and developing nature by man, Among the changes of nature, those transformed and developed by man's activity gradually occupied bigger proportion than those made spontaneously. Today, protecting natural environment, changing favorably for man, is important in man's activity to expand and deepen the realm of transforming and developing nature. It is the typical example that humankind is now in brisk to protect and administer natural environment, that is, the struggle to prevent water and air pollution, break of ozone layer, desertification of land, desertion of forest, loss of land, decrease of biological resources, destruction of ecological environment, etc. Nature is changed not simply but into social well-serving man and into better living surroundings for man by virtue of his energetic activity. Social transformation and development is deepened as man's energetic activity is strengthened. Historically, exploited society, which forced inhuman life to the people, began to collapse by the strengthening of man's energetic activity, and socialist system in which social man's intrinsic aspiration and desire is realized was born at last. It is the inevitable result made by the strengthening of man's energetic activity that humankind is advancing dynamically toward a new world of independence and peace. Social transformation and development is made at a high speed in accordance with the strengthening of man's energetic activity. It means that nature and society are transformed into those favorable for man as quickly as his energetic is strengthened by high level of man's independent, conscious, and creative ability. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "Man transforms nature and society and develops history. With the rapid development of his independent ideological consciousness and the enhancement of his role, the development of society and history is promoted and the revolution construction are successfully speeded up." Strengthening of man's energetic activity is the main factor that decides the speed of transforming and developing the world. With the considerable strengthening of man's energetic activity, his action on nature and society increases rapidly, and the speed of transforming and developing the world becomes higher. Man is fundamental cause and driving force for transformation and development of the world, and he has unlimited potentials to develop himself at a high speed. When he develops himself into powerful being, man's energetic activity to transform and develop nature and society is made at a higher speed. Unlike natural beings, man demands developing himself more quickly and has capability to do so. With the strengthening of man's energetic activity, the objective material world is transformed in the shorter period, and material and cultural wealth of society and social relations improved at the fullest speed. That the speed of transforming and developing the world is decided by the strengthening of man's energetic activity can be found through the historic evidence that nature and society were transformed and developed in a geometric progression. Historically, man's energetic activity to conquer nature has been strengthened at a very high speed, and according to it, nature has been also transformed and developed at a high speed. In view of only labor tool, the product of man's creative ability, it took hundreds of thousands of years for humankind to change from stone tool, the first labor instrument, into iron one. It is about 10,000 years ago that humankind began to the farming to cultivate lands with manual labor tools and stock breeding to tame animals. The transition from the use of millstone to the use of steam engine-powered mill took thousands of years. From the introduction of machines to automation took only 200 years. It was less than 50 years ago that the world began to transit to the IT era, that is, the knowledge-based era. Scientists envisage that the knowledge-based era will be mainly established in 2050 if humankind develops at such a high speed as today. Society also has been transformed and developed at very high speed with the strengthening of energetic activity of man, the popular masses who transform society. Primitive society was developed at very low speed and switched over to slave-owner society about 6,000 years ago. The slave-owner society existed for nearly 4,000 years, and feudal society existed for about 2,000 years. Capitalist society had appeared several hundred years before socialism was established. In socialist society, where the popular masses become masters of state and society, all kinds of reactionary and unpopular social factors disturbing social development are removed, and ideological consciousness of independence and creative ability of the masses grow rapidly and are displayed to the fullest extent, thus developing ceaselessly at a considerably high speed that cannot be compared with the development made in all exploiter societies. People are now increasing continuously the speed of struggle to transform the world, racing against the time. Thank you for this lesson. Next lesson, we will discuss about the viewpoint and attitude towards the world that proceed from man's interest.